Hello, and welcome to another video. So I'm gonna be going over the raid and my placement in it. Yeah, this raid I got number 3, specifically with about 5 of these characters up here. But I also did something nice that makes me feel like I'm number 1. And that just has 4 of these characters up here. Yeah, so I'm gonna show the clip of me clearing this first raid with the first 5 characters, and yeah, that's what I'll do. So the first 5 characters are Salia, Archangel Flown, Awakened Roz, Swimsuit Lucy, and Homura. Gonna go through this pretty quick, but so you start off with Archangel Flown, selecting both of these, doing Great Floater X to get up the buff. That one clears out one of the barriers. That clears second barrier. And I'm going for the crit. Boom. You know, went a little bit quicker. I learned my lesson on that, not to go 8 times speed when I'm trying to record something. But that's how I got number 3. Yeah, that was a really nice one. It was on like the 5th run of one of the raids that spawned, which means I had to chase it twice, using up 10 nether quartz. A little annoying, but yeah. So in a past video, I actually went over this team and how it was going to function and all that, and as you can see, it turned out pretty well. I only got 3rd place, not 1st, because 2 other people finished it before me. Of course, Isu was number 1, which was, you know, to be expected. They had really good action gauge, reduction resistance. I think they had like 80 to 90%, and most of mine were only at 50%. On top of not having to pull for future Salia for their team. So they got a good 10-minute head start on me, 10 to 15 minute, and we're definitely be able to, you know, go through and kill off that raid before I could. Now I'm going to show you something that I did that I don't think anyone's done, and if anyone has, I would love for them to show me video and all that. But I know there's plenty of people who can, but they just haven't went through the process of doing it. I'm pretty sure Isu can. But yeah, here is the clip of the special clear that I did using only 4 of those characters. Technically 5, but there's a copy of 1. You'll see. So for this one, I actually learned my lesson. I went ahead and turned down the speed down to 2 times. And if you look, I go ahead and select the 2 people, the enemy and me. Go ahead and do the buff. This gives me a lot more CRD than Archangel Flown did. Swap to Salam. She breaks the barrier and has a bunch of buffs as well. This breaks the barrier and gives me that defense debuff, and then another future Usalia for more CRD. Going in for the kill, I go here, show you, I've got over 300% CRD, which is well more than, you know, I had before. I think I had like 240. Go in, almost 900 billion damage. That was actually 50 billion more than I needed. Or, yeah, 50 billion more than I needed. So clearing a badass raid while also getting max score. So this is what makes me feel like I'm technically number 1. You know, I saw the video that Isu put out for their turn 0 kill, and they got like 600 billion, 670 billion damage. I'm pretty sure Isu can probably do this, but I'm also pretty sure no one has done it yet. Badass raid with a crap ton of health and getting the max score possible. So when I was actually doing the research for this raid, I was doing all the stats and everything, and I'm like, man, if I run Future Usalia, okay, it would probably be more beneficial to run two of them, mainly because, with Hamura, you have to use up a turn to get her crit rate up. But if you're running two Future Usalias instead of, one and one Archangel Flown, you're losing Archangel Flown's 30% buff to attack. So during that original raid, I was only getting I think it was 270% attack buff. And whenever I swapped over to this one, I was getting I think it was 295 exactly. Not quite full buff, but that's not what was needed. That extra 5%, not as needed. As much as the CRD difference between Archangel Flown and Future Usalia is 15%. So swapping out, I ended up getting a good, over 300% CRD versus my original one. I think it was 265 or something like that. But that's because I had two Future Usalias in there. When I decided to do the badass raid and try to get a perfect score on it, I kept looking around. I'm like, man, there's nothing out there that breaks the barrier at the very beginning while getting a higher buff than Awaken Rosalind. And then I thought to myself, you're wrong, because for one, most units will actually give you a pretty big buff. You just have to slap a bow on them, because the Zerial, I think is the name of the skill from bow, is wind based. So just slapping a bow broke that first barrier, while getting a stronger buff than Awaken Roz actually could. When I tried to do the badass with my original team, I was getting somewhere like 760 billion damage, but I needed 854. Yeah, that was rough to try to get. So making those small little changes really helped out the damage, because you're spreading out the damage formula, getting that higher CRD, trading it out for attack. Stuff like that can really stack up whenever you're spreading out that damage formula. Another issue I ran into is I had the entire team set up the exact same way it is right now with the two Future Usalias, and I rolled low on a crit. So I was at 9.95 or 93% overhit. I'm like, no. So what I ended up doing was getting one of them up to level 8900 and doing Killia training so I could get that extra 5% CRD on that buff. Which overall ended up making it 10% since I was using that buff twice. Now, here's the kicker. If I had really wanted to, I could have every single one of those characters at level 1, just 1, reincarnate them, super reincarnate them, whatever I need to do, and I would still be able to get this score, just because whenever it comes to supports, as long as they don't die and they do their buffs, your DPS is going to do the exact same amount of damage, because the buffs don't scale with their level. They're just doing percentages and other things. Okay. So, raid aside, there's a couple other announcements. One, the banner for formal Valvatores and formal Artina is being pushed back to October 1st, so it's only a 2-day delay, which means you only have 12 days to use that character EXP buff instead of 14. I mean, that's only 2 days. I'm not too worried about it. Most people in this game probably aren't even going to bring them up to 999, right off the bat. I say that, and they're two of the most sought after characters this month. So I know I'm probably wrong. But that aside, it's still enough time. It's only 2 days. We're getting compensated 200 nether quartz, not much, but I think they have like this whole 100 per hour. Honestly, I don't know. But yeah, going back to the raid, what gave me the idea of trying to clear off the badass was specifically the fact that I'd gotten like 3.5%, not percent, 3.5 times her health in the original one. And I'm like, I only need another 50%, and I feel like I can push the damage up that high. So I just decided to. That being said, yeah, so going forward, it looks like some of the original banners have been pushed back as well. Or it's a possibility. A lot of people are expecting the next 2 months, I believe, to just be reruns. That way they can kind of line up Christmas and New Year's to actually be during those times, which means the Floanzilla is being pushed back quite a bit of time. Still going to do the giveaway, but it's probably going to be a couple months away. I'm going to set the subscription goal to be roughly 100, and whenever it hits 100, no, not roughly, I will set it to be 100. Whenever it hits 100, just know that I'll make a video. First person who actually comments on that video will be the winner. I'll be able to tell, don't worry. So the best way to actually get that video is to, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get notified as soon as it gets posted. All in all, I'm happy with this raid, and congrats to everyone who's already maxed out so far. There's about 12 people who's maxed out the raid score, and yeah, we'll see you at the next raid.